Hey there, once again, welcome to Get to Know. I am Captain Mike. If this is your first time checking us out, well, welcome. And today we have a great show with someone that I've known for quite a while. What in the world does a Chicago Cubs fan, Indianapolis, a giant Yeti, a card collector, and all kinds of things have in common? Well, I'll tell you, it's just one really fun guy who likes to have fun with his family and let the world in on that. We're getting to know Ryan today from I Saw a Sasquatch. Let's check him out.
Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you.
It's been pulled, and the man that broke the news is right here, right now. Ryan Curtis, what's up, man?
Hi. Thanks for having me.
It looked.
Whenever when Ryan come back at you with stand-up displays, wanted to showcase to you a cool new collectible cheat code that I think we cracked last night in Altoona, PA. Major League Baseball, minor league baseball parks, sporting events in general. I think these are super cool. And let me show you another thing that he signed. Is going to look super cool right next to each other. Dude.
Send the bill, they send the pay. Keep it real, keep the record straight.
You see that was a little confusing, right?
ごちそうさまです。
Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you.
That's right. And here he is, Ryan,
Hey.
the man himself. Did you ever get an intro video for yourself before?
No, that was so cool. It's fun.
Well, I'm glad to do it. So we gotta preface this whole thing. We brought you on because of your love and what you do as far as a hobby and into a career, but we actually go pretty far back, years, and even though we've never even seen each other face to face.
Yeah, we have a lot more gray. You and I have a lot more gray than when we first met.
I may have just shaved it off right before we did this. So, for sure. But we go back, Ryan and I go back from our YouTube days, not this YouTube, but other YouTube, collecting cards and autographs. We've exchanged autographs, we've exchanged information, we've done videos for each other. Remember the giveaway videos and all the fun, crazy stuff. My big memory was it National Treasures, NCAA patch autos? Like you were trying to go buck wild, and I just for some reason remember that PC, but I know it's changed 25,000 times in the last 10 years.
Yeah. I'm always trying to keep it interesting and keep it, always trying to find my joy and lean into it. And if things get stale, the thing is with this industry, like a lot of other hobbies, is you can pivot and find new avenues that fill your cup that way,
Absolutely. And so what industry are we talking about? You may be asking. Well, we're talking about the trading card industry. That's right. Sports cards in particular. I have been a collector since I was a kid, and at different points in my life have dropped out of it and come back. I actually have my wife right now to thank for getting me back into it back in 2008. And Ryan has been one of the mainstays and growing in that industry. But first thing I got to ask is we saw it there at the beginning, and we got to know, I saw a Sasquatch.
Just I saw Sasquatch, but that's the handle. It even gets quirkier than that because the actual legal LLC name I have it is Sasquatch Collectors Emporium.
Well, see, so I messed it up on here, so I'll have to, edit it.
It's okay. Sure. It's okay.
We're not going to say an So I saw a Sasquatch. Why in the world? What Sasquatch? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so here's the logo that I designed. And I'll tell you, it was a bit of a prophetic situation. So I've had, when you and I met on YouTube, my original name is Indie Noodle. Mm-hmm. My usernames have always been different on purpose because that's also me. I'm very different on purpose. And Indie Noodle is my family nickname, as people gave me that. And then I took a pause for different reasons in life. Came back on YouTube with a new name called Dominus Infinitus, which people were like, "You think Sasquatch is weird? That one was weirder." But I owned it. I owned it. I love language. I love understanding different cultures. I like Latin. And Dominus Infinitus meant of the Lord throughout, with love never ending. I thought that was just super cool. And my mom
I had to look it up when you changed it, by the way. I actually went and did the homework.
Yeah. So that was my mom had breast cancer, and we did like a race for the cure. Like that's what we named our team name, and then I just took it as my new username. This one, I started Instagram about 3 years ago, post pandemic, and a buddy of mine, Scott Henderson, based out of Indianapolis. He's one of my longest, friends, and it did bowling leagues and yada yada yada. But we were gonna do this together, and I remember him coming down to my house here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we were like pitching different names. Like that's what we're gonna start our weekend with. Like we're gonna create the LLC, but we need to have a name first. And I remember we were just pitching all these like old school stuff, and I'm like, no, I want it to be different. Like you go into card shows or Fanatics Live or any of these other selling platforms, you just see a lot of like this something tied to sports. And that's good, right? It's a little on the nose, but I'm not that kind of person. So I remember after hours and hours of discussing it, and we're just like, let's sleep on it and wake up fresh in the morning. I had this like crazy, vivid, cinematic adventure of a dream that night that had like this logo and like every part of that name. I have no ties to I love the outdoors. Don't get me wrong. And do I think he's real? Yeah, obviously. But no, I was so crazy. I just remember the name came to me, like the handle, the username, the logo itself. I even to the point where I was like, man, if I ever had a brick and mortar card shop, I knew exactly where it was going to be at in town and what it looked like on the inside. And I just leaned into it. My partner was like, okay, I guess. And I think it's cool too, because like, yeah, it works. And I think like there's a lot of potential to scale it out into like a really fun brand down the road. And if not, like you remember it, right? If you go into a show and you see like, oh, the Dugout or Triple A or Triple Play or something like this, I'm like, no, but this one's a weird name that you're going to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was sharing off camera that like my son is on the lookout now for Sasquatch statues and cutouts, and every time he points it out and goes, "Hey, look, it's Ryan."
I love it. Hey, shout out to your son, by the way. But I have like people now all throughout the country that are like sending me. I had it happen yesterday with a Sweet Cards dude out of Houston. He was up, and he said, "Yeah, I just saw this at the gas station." He tagged me in it, and I was like, "That's cool." And now, Tennessee, there's a lot of people that have like Sasquatch stickers or, tire covers and stuff. And I make fun of it now. I just like take a picture of it at the red light. Like they didn't know I was here the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to become synonymous with you. And so you just kind of piggyback off of everybody else. It's free.
Well, and I don't want to piggyback. I will for a little bit, but I do genuinely want to like turn this logo. I want to get it trademarked because I think a lot of the stuff you see out in the wild, you see like the same like staunch like figure of Sasquatch like it is stood up. And I was like, no, like I want to trademark it and maybe help like we have like I know what is it Idaho and Oregon and Alabama and Tennessee. There's a handful of places that have like formally like Sasquatch museums, and I was like maybe I could like trademark it and sell shirts there, like sell them at shows or whoever. I don't know. It's just I think it's fun.
I love it, and I love that it's taking something that you're already into and kind of thinking outside the box. With that, we're kind of going way far in the ahead with this. Who knew Sasquatch would lead the way? But let's go back first, all right? And Marty McFly back. So trading cards. What is your first memory? How did you get into trading cards personally?
Oh, I remember like my first experience vividly. My mom took me. We grew up incredibly poor, so we never had like extra money laying around. And she tried so hard. She, bless her heart, she would work overtime and side jobs just so we could feel like we were somewhat normal in our, amongst our community. And gosh, one of my heroes. And I remember she worked all this overtime. And I have two older sisters, and like we didn't get along really until they all moved out of the house, and now we're really, really close. But when we were kids, having older pop off their Barbie heads, they throw my micro machines down the toilet. I remember one day we went to Value City Furniture.
Yes.
I remember it was like 1991, and we went. And I remember they were selling hanger packs of Upper Deck baseball on the back, and it was like $1.25. And when you grow up poor, like your parents groom you pretty early on. Like you don't ask for anything. Like we're here for necessities. Like don't want. You don't need to want things. We're here to need things. And I remember in the back of my mom was like, "Hey, do you want one of those?" And I was like, "Can I really?"
Yeah.
And I remember we came home and she like vehemently told my sister, she's like, "Guys, like his Lincoln Logs, fair game. Hot Wheels, fair game. Don't touch his cards." And I was like,
Right.
And that's like what started it, what ruined me for the rest of my life.
It was already put on a pedestal by your mom before anything else. Yeah.
But see, my mom, I got all my fandemonium from her. Like my mom is a avid sports fan. Like some of my fondest memories growing up are like us being in front of the old 12-inch black and white Reggie Miller versus Michael Jordan, or watching Jim Harbaugh with the Colts. Like, and she'd be the parent that was like, after church on Sunday, cussing out the referees, and I'm just like, yeah, what she said, yeah. So I think she found it as like a cheap, safe, fun outlet for me. And then a lot of kids in my neighborhood, as I got older, probably around like 7 or 8, I had binders at that time, and they were getting into it. So we'd like, we had a creek behind my mom's house, and we'd like hang out by the creek and trade cards, and it's only gotten worse than then.
Yeah, absolutely. More expensive is what it got. So it's so funny too. That with hobbies and with passions, a lot of times when you share a similar passion, a lot of times it's a similar story.
Mm-hmm.
You talking just reminded me of two things similar. I was also very poor. I was a project kid, and I remember getting 50 cents to walk to the gas station because I had to get something from my parents, and my mom said, "Here's 50 cents if you want to get some of those card things." And I grabbed this was probably around the same time. It was probably 91, 92, and I wanted to get Griffey and I wanted to get Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
That was what I was, trying to get. And the other one I remember, and it means so much to me, and same thing with you remember exactly the card. I don't remember what it was when it was myself, but my grandmother came to visit from Cincinnati, and that was when we were able, she had a little bit of expendable income, and so she took us to Big Lots and bought me a box of wow, now I blank on the name.
I'm sure it was a Don Russ baseball or something like that.
No,
it
was a whole box. It was like $3.50 of like MTV music cards.
I love it.
And
when they used to do music television. No,
and so it was all hip hop, like early hip hop and like hair bands.
That's awesome.
And to the point where in one of my big boxes, I have 2 unopened packs that I found and bought for like 50 cents just to remember my grandmother. The worst cards ever. They're worth maybe -3 cents, and but
$1 billion to the nostalgia bank.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000, and my kids understand it. So it's interesting how God gets those passions ignited in us, and then we start leaning into that. So when did you start realizing that this hobby could be something that you could pursue to something more?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm still in my moment. I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do if I grow up. It's just been I got on YouTube in 2009. I believe is when I first jumped on there. And I've always been a collector of things. So like most people, both of my parents were hoarders. So I think a lot of people in this industry, they're either hoarders themselves, or this is like what I would call the collector gene of like, okay, well now we're just organized hoarders. So this was kind of my outlet for that. And I started with cards, and then I brought in comics for a little bit. And I was really, really, really into Star Wars action figures. I was that kid who did like a paper route at 8 years old. And I would go to Toys R Us and I would buy 2 of the same action figure, one that I could pull out and one that I could keep in pristine shape in the box.
You picked the wrong era to do that with. Though,
I know.
You missed it by a generation.
I would have crushed in the 70s, honestly. It's probably good I was born in late 80s. But no, so I got into coins for a little, and I've kind of like zigged and zagged like you talked about earlier, but just finally refined myself into like, hey, I'm just doing what feels right, doing what feels fun. Getting into YouTube was like a total accident. I remember I hadn't purchased any new cards in a while, and one of my buddies, there used to be a card shop in Greenwood, Indiana, the south side of Indy, called Ball Cards. And he was like, we went to the mall. He said, hey, I want to go in and like buy a pack of cards. I was like, oh, they're still making those? And we go in there, and he bought like a bunch of. I remember he bought Sage Hit, and I remember he hit a Rob Gronkowski auto out of 25. And we're like, who's this bum?
Right.
Fast forward, and I was like, oh, I'll buy one pack of 2009. I bought one pack of 2009 UDSP Authentic, and I got hit by the lucky stick. Most people have this story of like when you're back at it, you get hooked again somehow. And mine was I pulled a 2009 Matthew Stafford 25 out of one pack, and I was like, I wish I was burned. And then and then I'm Googling, like, oh, like what other new products are out? And then it introduced me to YouTube, and then I see this new community, and I was like, I love people, I love community, I love this. We can talk to the people. I don't know. I've just been expanding upon that and iterating ever since. Is showing up, pouring into other people. Like I mentor people all the time. Like I'm an open door to anyone who watches this. You come to me, like I will respond to every single message I ever get. I like to educate people along the way. I like people to learn from my playbook. You can refine your own, but bad history shouldn't repeat itself. And a lot of people who are coming new into the hobby, like, hey, there's a lot of vultures. There's a lot of good people. I'm glad you landed on my page. Let me guide you and like tell you like the do's and don'ts and pitfalls and look out for those. And so I don't know, I just keep on expanding upon that and trying to build out my network. And it went from these mail days to ways to rant videos or whatever we were doing back then. It was fun. It was totally different. Now YouTube is like almost unrecognizable anymore.
Right.
But Instagram, why I went over there is like it does still have that kind of that community feel that we used to have in YouTube, where people can slide in your DMs, you can respond, like you can tag each other, you can just support each other, pass out mail days, care packages and stuff. I don't know. So now I'm taking that passion and I'm trying to like just see like how much I can elevate, how I can partner with other corporations within the industry, how I can work with other card shops to help them out for different things. I don't know. Like it was probably around the time I got to YouTube and I was like, oh, like we can keep adding to this.
Right.
And it's changed throughout the years. But yeah, Instagram was such a blessing for me. Like, especially coming out of the pandemic, everyone was stir crazy. I had just gone through a divorce, moved across the country. I was like, I need people. My tribes are in other states. I'm not allowed to go talk to them without a mask.
Yeah. You were in a cell.
I was in a cell. Dude, I'm telling you, I moved to a whole new town where I couldn't get out and about. Like even trying to like church shop was almost impossible because like churches were unrecognizable during that time. So it's like, I can't find myself, like a small group to get into. It's like Instagram. I went into it and then I started doing these like silly reels. Cause like I'm a clown, like in real life, what you see is what you get. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then next thing I know, I'm doing 2 or 3 posts a day. And it's been a phenomenal creative outlet for me. Mm-hmm. My normal 9 to 5, like I've done a lot of project management, product management, a lot of boring, weedy stuff. So this has been a really good outlet for me to be like, okay, I can decompress and be with my people and talk about stuff that like is drama free. And really, anyone who's watching this, it can always be drama free. Just watch the company you keep.
Right. Exactly.
And you can muffle out the noise, right? You can block the noise. Yeah, I know Instagram is a phenomenal outlet. And I've met so many like yourself. Like I have people in every state, like lifelong friends that I would like break bread. My house is your house. I want to come take my kids to your family. I have people in every state, and it wouldn't have happened without just like letting go, let God, and just seize the day, live in the moment, and it's been great.
Yeah, and but by the way, it was 2007 David Ortiz autograph out of Top Series 2. That was what got me, and it was one pack from the kiosk in the mall. My wife pulled it, and there. But so that's kind of, you've hit on really the crux of what this series does and talks about is taking your passion and not keeping it here, but expanding it here. Yeah. And you touched on it briefly, but I'm going to say the words. You are a content creator. That's kind of, that is what you've become. You've got.
Don't use the I word. Don't use the I word. I'll take content creator.
Oh yeah. I had to think for a second. The brain was like, no, content creator,
No.
content creator. But you have taken that. You've got thousands of followers that come to you, and
those poor suckers.
I'm telling you, man, I just reeled them in. But I can vouch for you. You are entertaining, and you are definitely all about spreading positivity and joy and everything. But that you touch on it just briefly, that creative outlet, taking something you're super passionate about, and suddenly not only finding that you can release some of this creativity with it, but people are now coming to you and partnering with you, and you're getting financial gain from this. And I know you're at the entry level and you're just starting to really build this up, but what has that experience been like to find that, oh, this is, I used to just like these paper squares, and now like I get to have fun, like you said, and I'm starting to actually meet people and they want me there. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's cool. It's very surreal. It's very humbling to be able to be like, this year, especially, like this year's been a movie for many, many different reasons, for different aspects of my life. But I mean, I got invited by Nash Cards to, he's like, hey, for the last Hobby Rip Night, he said, we got Johnny Manziel coming out here. Could you like be behind the camera and edit? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. You mean the Heisman Trophy winner? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, I was going to go to your shop anyway, but you want to pay for my gas? Tremendous.
Yeah.
And you're going to feed me? Like, listen, I'm a cheap date.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Gas and pizza, you're there.
That's it. That's know your way into my heart. That's it. No, so it's surreal. And I mean, even the national, like kids do their first national tomorrow. That's so crazy. Like you and I have been in, like we know, like that is the sports mecca. For those of you watching this for the first time, we have many different trade shows that happen throughout the country every weekend. But there is from Wednesday to Sunday, one time a year, travels to different cities. It is where everyone comes. It's I don't know, I call it the Great Pilgrimage, where you have every corporation is represented, the top dealers from around the world. Like people are flying in, and a lot of people just make their nut in this 1 week. Right. But it's so good because for me, when you talk about this passion, I have such a deep passion for sports, but my passion for people supersedes everything. Right. And community supersedes everything, and that's what I want my channel to exude above all else. Like I make really nothing in this hobby. Like in fact, like I'm negative.
Yes.
Severely negative.
Yes. You're ground floor. Yeah. It's coming. Yeah.
It's okay. But gosh, it's so good. Like what I'm looking forward to most, even in Cleveland at this national convention, it's at all. Like it's going to just like introduce my kids to some of the most incredible people I've met throughout my life. And it's just like, no, like the cards are like a cool byproduct, but like these relationships are why I'm in it still. And I lean into the good ones. And I don't know, I've met some really interesting content creators as well this year that are opening up. Hey, like, can you be my camera guy like Thursday with the president of PSA? I'm like, yeah, I could do that.
I'm just going to go hang out at Cards AQ and, make content with Jeff Wilson, Dude,
and that one, man, I'm telling you, like that one was such a reach out and touch faith moment. That was on MLB opening day. Mm-hmm. And I had messaged Jeff maybe 6 weeks before that. I remember I was in the Dallas Card Show and Carter and Ryan, his managers, were there. And I was like, yeah, man, like you got to talk to Jeff about getting me on sometime. By the way, I'm nobody. Like Jeff Wilson is, you type in sports cards, he's the first person that comes up on every search engine you've ever seen. Atlanta's only 3 hours away, which is nothing, for a really good experience. And I just messaged him one day. I was like, hey, Jeff, like, when are you going to let me on? Or like, when, like, I'd love to get some time with you. He's like, yeah, like, give me a date in the next 2 weeks and I'll tell you if it works for me. And I was like, this man, like a lot of people have opinions about him. And I say, go to the horse's mouth and figure it out on your own. He gave me 4 hours of his time. I'm nobody. Like I'm affiliated by nobody. I'm just a fanatical card collector dad, and he gave me 4 hours of his time for free 99. And he'd be like, yeah, if you want to do skits, just let me know. And like, you want to meet my team and we could break cards together and even have me on his podcast. I'm nobody. Right. I can tell you, and a handful of people that were, if you go back to that video, I don't care. I just thought it was funny is that people were like posting on some of the comments on that video that he posted on YouTube. And they're like, who is this guy? Like, why should I care about him? And I'm like, you don't have to. It's okay. It's like, land, and it'll resonate with some people and not for everyone, and that's okay.
And you're trying, like you're not
Yeah.
staying still. And funny
No.
Jeff Wilson story, by the way. So we spent one day at the National my entire life. That was 2 years ago in Atlantic City, and with the family. And my son Jake and I were walking around, and we kept running into Jeff, and for the life of us, we couldn't remember who he was. We know who he is, and so we didn't go. Like we tried to. Gary V. We went to.
There's another Jeb.
Yeah, we Ken Golden, like talked to all of them, but Jeff, it was just like we couldn't remember the name, and we were too embarrassed to go and say like we know you nowhere, so we didn't get a chance to talk. But he was cool. He was talking with people tables. He was there, all over. So with all of these experiences, like as a content creator who's starting as again, you're new, you're just getting off the ground, 5,000 people is nothing to scoff at. This is.
I'm so humbled by that number, honestly.
That's a testament to the work. You can thank LeBron James and Bronny as well. That helped a little bit. Go check out Ryan's Instagram page to see that crazy story. But
it was a movie this year. Yeah,
it was amazing. But we all know that when we do take those steps in faith and move out, that it isn't all Skittles and rainbows and sunshine. There's hiccups along the way. What have been some of those hiccups as you've kind of transitioned into trying to make a living off of your passion for this trading card industry?
Yeah, the biggest one that I can say that gave me just great pause was 2023. Like I legitimately stepped away. If anyone is in the sports card industry, that the market was doing a lot. So 2020, 21, a lot of new people were bored at home. They got into this hobby, and everything was skyrocketing. 22, and then 23, it did a Casa Bonita, just cliff dive. And so for me, I was admittedly like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was investing. I went to 26 trade shows. So I have my children 50-50. I coach all their sports, and whenever I had an opportunity to like have a weekend where I didn't have them and it didn't conflict with baseball, I'd go all over the country. And I was like, no, like I'm going to throw myself at this. I'm going to show that I'm showing up, and I'm trying to network across the country. And I would take like money I needed to pay the mortgage. I'm like, no, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this show in North Carolina, and I'm going to buy stuff at 70% comps, and I'm going to be able to flip it, and like it'll be great. I'll pay for the rest of the bills. And I would get stuff. Gosh, and this happened last year. Where I go to a show, I remember vividly, Shipshewana, Indiana. I bought maybe $5,000 worth of stuff. I was like, yeah, these comps, like $8,000. So I'd like send it off to a consigner, and I'm like, no, I should be able to make some money. And like all of it sold for like half of what they were comping at. And I was like,
by the way, comps are comparisons, other prices that you can look up and find.
Yeah. So yeah, that was hard. And again, like this is stuff that I want to be able to put out in the universe. I want you to learn from my mistakes. Like, don't ever do that. Don't ever like keep your four walls current before you do anything else. Right. Like, it's good to, go all in on yourself and bet on yourself, but like do it responsibly. I did not do that last year. I did it to the 4, and I was always behind the 8 ball. It wasn't good. And by the end of the year, I was just like, I was really far behind. But it took me a long time. It took me to take on part-time jobs and handyman stuff and DoorDash just to be like, okay, well, now I'm current this month. Right. What was I doing last month? But like, if I didn't go to that show, like I exerted I have so much good energy, and I was throwing all I could in a very haphazard way. And I learned so much from it, and that's good. Like if you go through strife and you're not learning from it, you need to do a retrospective every once in a while. But okay, well, like, why didn't that go good this last month? How could I do this differently? So I did. I took some pause. I think about a 2-month break between December and January, and then came in with the new mindset, new guardrails and healthy boundaries for myself and how I wanted to engage in that. And I was sidelined for a little bit, and then I went back all in. So.
And then you had 2024, which now that we're halfway through, you said has been a movie. So which leads me then to the flip side. What is one, if I'm going to make you pinpoint one thing, and it can be personal, it can be professional, it could be whatever. What's one moment within this transition to making this, your career, that you're like, I got to do that, like I got to experience that?
I mean, the LeBron Bronny one of one, that was insane for so many reasons. Like I was in the middle of like a lot of churn in my life. I do a lot of whiteboarding every year, and I try to like productize my life. And I remember like going into this year, I was like, man, like I'm tired of like throwing out all this energy and either being further behind or in the exact same place I was the year prior. Like that's crazy. Like I need this year to look, feel, and smell different. So like I'm over here trying to start a lighting company, and I'm trying to like leave corporate America and like throw myself at all these other entrepreneurial ventures. And I was in the midst of having a very invasive surgery on the books, and I was at my kid's tennis practice, FaceTime from my buddy Dave, Four Corner Sports Cards, and literally I answered the FaceTime. He never FaceTimes me. He lives in Chicago. We're friends through cards, through Cubs, and I answered the phone. He's holding like one of the most like prolific cards that's been marketed heavily in our industry in a long, long time. Is the
Can you give a quick like synopsis on what that card was and like what it, why it was so big?
Yeah. So out of Bowman Chrome U, right? Bowman Chrome U.
Yeah.
So the number one chase card out of the product was this LeBron James, Bronny James, that's his son, dual autograph. They both signed the card on card, and they only made one of them. They made no other variations. Like it was the only one, and it was the first time ever LeBron James had ever signed with the company Topps, which is the oldest card company on the planet. It was his first time he had signed a single card in like 10 years. And it was his first card ever with his son. So like you and I being dads, I was like, I had chills running down my spine. I was like, this is.
And he signed it on social media. Like there's video of him, of both of them signing it.
Yeah, Michael Rubin, the CEO, and the COO flew out to Los Angeles. They made a commercial about this card. That's how prolific this card was. So then my friend, who owns a bar, just like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, calls me and he shows me this. And I was like, yo, and he said, I just opened this at my house. I bought one box. I hid it. And I was like, and he said, okay, so the deal is, he's like, I love your content. I love how you handle stuff. He said, I don't want my face to be out here. He said, because this is going to sell for a lot of money and people in my area are going to want money from me. He said, so like, if you like the opportunity to like have exclusive rights to like run with this, the content and announcing it, and then also helping me broker the deal, he said, I would love for you to, I think you do it justice. And I was like, oh my word. Like, I remember like from that week on, it was just a blur. Yeah. Like I might've slept 7 hours that week from like responding to every message, responding to emails, brokering Zoom calls, FaceTimes, like talking to prospective buyers. And then literally like a week later, I had my surgery on a Monday morning. 3 hours later, I come out of recovery. I was on a podcast. 12 hours later, I was on a plane with a crutch. I had a crutch. I was high on hydrocodone, going out to the Burbank Card Show to help broker that deal to PWCC. And it was wild. It was wild to be part of.
Which you can see the card in the video at the beginning of this. That card is what was shown, and it was pulled. And it was, on a side note, we had actually, as Ryan said, he took a break from YouTube. I took a break from YouTube. Life happens. And we actually, that's how I reconnected, because all of a sudden I'm laying in bed and I'm just scrolling through Instagram and I went, it says, guess what? And it's, this Troy McClure from The Simpsons looking guy coming up there with a suit talking about, guess what's been pulled? And I'm like, that's Ryan. What in the world? And I showed my wife. I'm like, no, look. And it was amazing to see and blow up. And it actually kind of reconnected me with other people that I'd been disconnected with in the hobby through that. And so, that the end game of that, are we able to say what the end game was on that?
Yeah, it ended up selling through PWCC's March premiere auction, PWCC, which is now being rebranded to Fanatics Marketplace. Sold for $114,000. Like the guy spent $140 on the box, turned that into he, his wife, myself. We all got flown out first class to Los Angeles. Stayed in a hotel, got to go to Burbank Card Show and like be part of that entire experience. I literally got off the plane, again, hydrocodone, cane, I can't walk. And We walk this thing into PSA, get it graded on site. I was just like, what is happening? Like, what is actually happening right now? So I mean, we just had like, what a fun ride, what a cool experience. It was great exposure for Fanatics, it was great exposure for Tops, it was great exposure for PWCC. Everybody won. Yeah, you walked away with $110,000. You know, that's nuts.
It's amazing, but it also
and
is
like, and Dave and I were already good friends, but like now we're like close as can be and talk all the time. So
I'm sure I know why, you know, and but it is a testament to you and the work that you've put in your content, and it's you know, it does show that you just talking about that nosedive and that, you know, tumultuous time that you had, and then when you're least expecting it, that's when the good hits you.
Yeah, man.
You know,
it was awesome.
The work you put in. Well, I gotta tell you, you know, I'm so excited to have reconnected. I love watching your stuff. I was very jealous of opening cards in Panama. That was pretty awesome to see.
I still got my Panama glow.
Yeah, I still get that white boy thing, you know. Right. Don't worry, I do season the chicken, but this is not good.
In all fairness, my mom is Panamanian, so I have it.
Oh, there we go. All right,
I have a home field advantage there. Yeah.
There we go. See, yeah, had a glue. But yeah. So, do you want? Is there anything that you want to just kind of end on? Or actually, I almost left without doing what I got so caught up. I almost left on without asking my big question. I'd ask everybody, Ryan, the same question. What would you now say to 12-year-old Ryan Curtis?
Oh man.
It's a big one.
Oh, just a huge life lesson I've learned, and I'm trying to. There's a book that I can't recite on here, explicit title, but there's a really good book of the art of not giving a care, right? And by that is like, instead of being so focused on what other people think and like, oh, if I do this, like, am I going to be anxious or embarrassed? Like, just lean into it. Just be yourself. And like, be unapologetically you. And like, God has gifted us this incredible, beautiful place with all these great opportunities and great people that we're all from different walks of life and different experiences and different passions. And like, we need to leave this place a better place. And you're never going to do that from just sitting on the sideline. Participate, unapologetically be yourself.
Absolutely. And I would say to you, give yourself a little bit of credit too. You push it all off, but you know, I have a saying that I say to my congregation all the time, that you know, when the floods come, you have to pray, but you also have to row to shore. So you're rowing to shore and you're putting in the work, and we're very happy to see all that. Is there anything you want to plug coming up, or anything that you just want to let everybody know?
Stay tuned for content from the National. I'm so ecstatic. Like, again, you get it. You're a father. Like, you've been in the hobby. It's such a special moment to be able to like share this and have something that we can do in our giant age gap. We can do together and have just as much fun. But to be able to take them to their first National, I'm so excited. I've lined up a lot of really fun stuff that I've previewed along the way a little bit, but some fun surprises coming down. And like, I'm so excited to watch it all through their lens, and just stay tuned for that. I plug lots of good people all the time, so follow them too. And again, just enjoy the hobby. If you haven't been a part of it, you want to learn about it, you have any questions, I'm always here for you. But yeah, just that's all I have going on here coming up, because then the kids go back into school and I coach baseball and Cub Scouts and all. So like, I'll be back to doing reels from home.
Yeah. Hey, well, and when you hit 1 million followers, don't forget us. That's what I'm asking. So it's gonna
listen.
happen.
You're gonna be in charge of the podcast at that point. You're gonna be my
dude. I'm down. Let's do it. I want to have multiple.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Write it down on this day.
On in here, you tell me when, and we'll start it up. I love it.
Let's do it.
So, well, go follow Ryan on Instagram, and kids, get your parents' permission before following anybody on social media,
especially my channel. If I'm being honest, yeah, I mean,
I would say most times good, but you know, as Steve Harvey once said, "Don't trip, he ain't through with me yet." And so, you know, it's all good. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for coming on, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another one of get to know. And make sure that you check back here on the channel as we're starting to try to expand and share this. Share the video, share the posts. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We're trying to get the word out on this show just to show people that God's got a whole lot of plan for you, and it starts with the passions he gave you. So until next time, I'll see you later.
Deuces.